date from, let alone get someone to want to see you again after a first date. Okay, so basically you're going to have this chick here who is going to speak a whole lot of psychobabble for about 15 minutes to a large audience around dating.
Will change the way you see love forever. As a former lover girl, I get it. I used to think that loving hard meant that I was doing it right, that constantly giving, fixing, and forgiving meant that I was a good girlfriend. But if you're tired of always being the one to text first, if you're constantly justifying bad behavior, and if you're always the first one to fix every problem, this video is for you. There is nothing wrong with being a lover girl, but the way you've been doing it has been leaving you in draining, manipulative relationships. So
what's this thing that women call lover girl? Is that the female version of, nice guy, good guy? I would have to argue that most guys would love to have a girl who is very reasonable, wanted to put effort in, text you, ask you if you want to do something, have ideas as well, be fun to be with, be pleasant to be with. For some reason, I just can't understand it. These women give advice against being that. No, don't be too nice, don't be too available because the guy won't respect you. And we all know what that is code for. They've been going for the wrong guys, okay? Guys that never would have committed to them, even in the first place, regardless of how they were. So they come up with all these strategies that really only hurt them and other women in the long run. And the reason why I talk about these videos is if you are on the dating app, if you are experienced with dating women, a lot of these things that they're talking about, you will see these themes come up in your dates, in your experiences on dating apps, reading dating profiles, you name it. That's why it's relevant to talk about it. And I like to dissect them and try to analyse truly what they're saying and why.
These are the 5 biggest dating secrets that I wish someone had told me. And once you watch this video, you will truly understand how real relationship dynamics work and find...
I can't see your wedding ring on the finger, I could be wrong. But you get these chicks who are single, and there's nothing wrong with being single, but they talk about having clocked dating more or less. They have secrets that are going to help you. But is their life, do they have a perfect relationship? Do they have this really awesome James Bond boyfriend?
Fuck.
That's why I'm cynical of them. And there's a huge market for this sort of thing because a lot of women really eat this stuff up. They really eat it up and it actually affects them very much negatively when they go out and try and meet men because any man who has self-respect, has options, has things going for him, not just about money, but he's busy. He's attracted to women because he's doing well in life, he's confident, all that sort of stuff.
What's up, everybody? You just saying what's up, all right? This is your boy over here.
And not being available or fun to be around, he's not. So that they literally shoot each other by playing manipulation games.
Man that your inner lover girl deserves. Tell me if you relate to this, but growing up, I always wondered, why do the same low-quality, ugly boys keep following me? Like, I had pretty low self-esteem, but I knew I couldn't be that ugly. And this is gonna sound crazy, but here's the truth. I was actually attracting the right guys for me at the time, because these boys were exactly like me.
What's up, Justin?
I don't know.
You say what's up?
Once again, have no sense. Generally, like attracts like. That's why I'm dating app.
Yeah.
Eventually, when you use them for a bit, you'll start matching with.
Like the video and share with your friends. Follow me on Instagram, on YouTube and TikTok. I should put my TikTok on the comment section.
I actually watched quite a bit of this video. She'll make a comment soon talking about broke losers and shit like that. It goes to show you that she's somewhat attractive. She's not a mega stunning babe or anything like that. She's an average looking Asian chick who somehow has the agency to talk like they are a top-notch, absolute model celebrity.
Attract what you think you deserve. Let me repeat that. You attract what you think you deserve. In that moment in my life, I had no self-respect, lots of insecurities, and didn't think I was actually capable of being in a relationship with a great guy. So therefore, the men with that same mindset followed me. If you do not think the most highly of yourself, if you don't see yourself as the most valuable, you will not attract a guy who does either. I mean...
So hang on, so this is how women think. They think about spirituality, they think about manifesting shit. That's what she's more or less talking about. This is why women have huge egos. And a lot of the time you'll come across women and
oh my God, are you serious?
Such a high opinion of themselves. It is truly bonkers. It is truly backwards. I'll have nothing going for them. Living with their parents, completely broke. They might be attractive, 36 years old with nothing going for them, and they just think they are the best. 10 out of 10, God's gift to men. Why? Because they listen to this shit and they have a deluded, narcissistic, inflated view of their own self-worth. Just like this woman is promoting. No, you are a queen, girl. You are a queen, and you must hold yourself to high standards, and you must think of yourself and love yourself. Otherwise, and then men will just love you.
See this happen time and time again. Do you ever have that one friend who jumps from situationship to situationship, who can never get their shit together and is utterly a hot mess? I'm sorry, but those people do not think very highly of themselves. Because if they did, they wouldn't be doing all of that. They lack self-respect. So if you want to be treated right, you want someone to love you unconditionally, you have to give that to yourself first. Nobody else can give it to you but yourself. If you rely on other people to fix your self-esteem for you, you will be sorely disappointed. When you build yourself,
what's up, Justin? What's up, J Cola?
No one who is below that will come knocking at your door. You will no longer attract these broke, low-quality losers. Because people believe you deserve the very...
That's it. No matter who you are, even if you're a broke, low-quality loser yourself.
It's the beauty of creating. The moment when you're old. B&H is here to make sure you have the right tools and partner for the task at hand. B&H.
Oh, fuck me, dude. Are you serious?
You are at the heart.
What's up, Eduardo Velasquez?
The reason we fought for lower prices.
Is anybody in the U.S.?
The reason we passed laws that protect you, the customer. The reason we developed a better, more affordable way to renew your prescription.
Hold on TikTok or...
Who we are today begins and ends with you.
1-800 contacts.
Shit.
Well, you can't be attracting that. So as I said, guys, this is the way that women think about men, mostly from a transactional perspective. They will swear to their blue in the face that they don't, that it's a nice guy who's going to love them, and they don't care about those things. But listen to the language. Low quality. They're talking about men being low quality. And what does that mean? They don't have much money.
Best. So why would you want to settle for anything else? So first things first, get this idea of I don't deserve love out of your head, because you do. There is no such thing as a good guy shortage. The people online who say that live in a scarcity mindset. There are plenty of great men out there, but you haven't found them yet because you still need to work on yourself. And if you're already in a relationship and wondering how this applies to you, it does. The person you are with right now is the exact representation of how you feel about yourself. So if you're unhappy with your partner and feel like they don't show up for you, that's because you don't show up for yourself.
What does that even mean? And once again, this is really dangerous messaging, because women will listen to this gobbledygook bullshit and think, you know what, I better dump my boyfriend or husband now. They literally will think that based on that. I've had a woman say to me, she ended her 10-year marriage and she has 2 kids because she was listening to some podcast and the woman said something that really resonated with her, and she knew then and there in that moment her marriage was over. Because of what some stupid idiot was saying on the internet to suck people like her in for views and to buy memberships and shit. Ruined her life, ruined her husband's life. He was a good dude. He's a good dude. Oh, he just wasn't providing me with blah, 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 blah. And I heard that on the whatever podcast or whatever it was called, not the whatever podcast, but that's some bullshit.
Unfortunately, you cannot blame the other person for treating you some type of way because you're allowing it. You being with them is a choice that you made. And every day you stay in that relationship, you are confirming to yourself that this is the way you should be treated. Now, I get that this is very different in certain situations, like an abusive relationship where it is very hard to walk away, especially with other factors like kids, a house, etc. But this video is specifically for my lover girls who are dating to find the one. So before you get into the wrong relationship in the first place, you need to look inside yourself and ask if this is what you truly deserve.
Okay, once again, this language language here. Let's talk about it. Once again, you're going to see all this in the dating apps like I was talking about earlier. You'll see them becoming more belligerent and more, visceral the longer that they're on there. I know what I deserve. I know my worth. Blah, blah, blah. Completely delusional type stuff that any guy who's got any sense of self-decency is not going to entertain them or jump through the hoops. Once again, she was just saying it might be hard for...
This company is going viral for its new process that gives you permanent teeth in just 24 hours. If you're missing 5 or more teeth, Nuvia Dental Implant Center has a life-changing solution. No dentures, no temps, no partials, and no waiting months for your finals. They're changing lives with next-day smiles that look, function, and feel real. You walk in and walk out the next day with permanent teeth.
So look, we're 6 months into President Trump's second term in office. Now I know you've been critical, you've had your bones to pick with President Trump. If you took his name out of it and looked solely at what has happened, the policies and the things that have changed around the world and in our country over the first 6 months, how do you rate his presidency so far?
I wouldn't give it a good rating. You know,
why not?
Simply
you can't take this guy serious. Look, we're gonna get into it, but this is what the problem is with liberals and Democrats is that they refuse to acknowledge and they are not objective, and they know that Trump has been winning in every single sense of the word. But this is what they're saying now. But let's go ahead and hear what you got to say.
because, you know, the least of us are still being impacted the worst. Like when you look at something like, you know, the big beautiful bill, that's something that, you know, I'm going to benefit from because of the tax bracket that I'm in, but, you know, there's going to be so many people that's hurt by that bill. And, you know, anything that, you know, takes away Medicaid from people and will put people in a worse financial situation than, you know, they were previously in, I'm not for. And, you know, he ran on that. Like, he ran on, you know, the economy. He ran on saying that, you know, grocery prices were going to be down and, you know,
That has happened.
You know.
Inflation is trending down. And by the way, Medicaid, we want to make sure the people who are not actual recipients who shouldn't be getting Medicaid are off Medicaid so it can actually benefit.
How can you say no? No. Yes, inflation is down. It's 100% down. Under the Biden administration, inflation was at over, in some cases, depending on what time and where you were inside the country.
Son of a bitch, I'm getting old, bro.
Inflation was above 9 and 10%. That's a fact. This is 100% a fact. This is not even debatable.
Son of a bitch.
I'm not sure. And see, again, I think that we pedestalize certain people and we look at people that have a huge platform or something like that.
Oh, dude, you serious?
But they know what they're talking about every single subject, including inflation, including politics, including hip hop, including basketball and popular culture and relationships. And we gotta stop. We gotta separate it. But here we are.
So people, there is good stuff in that bill, though. You have the 2017 tax cuts that are only permanent, and that really is up to everybody. But that's for everyone. Everyone in this country is impacted by that. You also have things, by the way, like money going to school choice for parents all across this country. There is a lot of good that I think will come out of the big, beautiful bill. But what about things like...
Right now, people are hurting. And
Yo, listen. She was too intelligent for him on the Breakfast Club, and she's too intelligent for them now. Honest to God. She's way head and shoulders above them. But I do think that it's dope that she's invited Charlamagne on the platform and that she went to the Breakfast Club because it gives more perspective and a difference and a gap between those that truly understand politics and the bill itself. I guarantee you he's never even read the bill. I guarantee you that he hasn't read the bill. He doesn't know that people that are below a certain tax bracket actually are the ones that ultimately benefit when it comes to the percentages and how much you have back into your paychecks, how much you have back into your family, all of these different things. He has no clue whatsoever.
Hey, you guys like the chat and you can share it with your friends and stuff like that, okay? Okay?
Do you feel safer?
Yeah, how do I comment?
Will not have the ability to develop a nuclear weapon.
Iran? Sure. I feel if you're telling me that a country won't have the ability to build a nuclear.
If you're telling me, he has no clue whatsoever. He has no clue whatsoever. Focus on Neon, focus on Kevin Gates or something like that.
Do you feel better knowing our borders closed?
Yeah.
Okay, so
There's certain things that I absolutely, understood. Like, as far as, border security, but I understood border security for different reasons. Like, people were complaining about the border because they felt like people were coming into, the country and, taking jobs away from people in certain areas and certain communities. And that is the conversation that I have been hearing, for the past year and a half prior to the election. I understand that, but I want to see the criminals and illegal immigrants, actually deported. Not people who are here, trying to go through the process of being in this country legally. Like, if you see people actually getting deported and getting detained, and they're actually trying to go through the process of being American citizens.
So he wants people to be able to illegally come over into the United States of America. And then we have to wait for them to commit an additional crime because they broke the law coming over here illegally. You can't do that anywhere else in the world. We have to wait for them to commit an additional crime before we decide that we want to deport them against another American or another person inside of the United States of America. Well, we never really held Biden accountable or Kamala Harris accountable for letting them over here in the first place and opening up the borders and suing Texas in order to have them to come over here and use American taxpayer dollars in order to make sure that we integrate them into the country. None of that matters. Let's just make sure that we're only focused on the people that commit crimes. And we're also not factoring into the equation that all liberal cities refused from day one since Trump came into the office. They refused to allow for Trump to work with and the ICE agents and HSI, Homeland Security agents, to work with different cities and different states that if an illegal migrant got arrested, then they would be handed over so that they can be deported. So we just don't ignore all of that. And we just going 100% focus on how it is that you feel. God.
That's not right.
Well, we're allowing those people to leave. They actually get money to leave, and then they get to reapply to come back here the right way. So
But you even go where?
they go back to their home country, and then they
What
get
if
to
they've never even been to that country?
Well, they have been to that country. That's where they came from. But let me ask you this. Hold on.
Some of them haven't, though. A lot of them haven't.
I don't know.
I've seen a lot of cases of people getting deported.
Well, some went to El Salvador who were from Venezuela, but those people have now been sent back to Venezuela. Let me ask you about how the Democrats have responded, though, in the first 6 months of this presidency. How do you rate their response? Because it feels like to a lot of people watching, they don't really have an alternative. And it's a lot of, we hate this because Donald Trump is trying to do it. What do you think of how they've reacted?
When you look at Democrats' approval rating in the country, when you look at Republicans' approval rating in the country, you see that Americans are just fed up with it all. Like, Democrats suck. You know that already, right? You know what I mean? So it's like, I knew that Trump would probably get in office again and fumble, but I also knew that Democrats wouldn't have the team put together properly to recover the ball. So what you're seeing...
Do you hear? It's the same thing that was happening during the election, and JD Vance kind of hit on this. They absolutely refuse to remove Trump from the conversation and make sure that they're talking wholly and sensibly about the question that was asked about Democrats. Democrats' only strategy was Charlemagne is a Democrat. Let's just be clear. He's not an independent. He's not an independent thinker. He's a 100% trained to respond based off of the talking points that was given to him, and he's 100% always going to be voting for Democrats. Even though he's going to use this one little thing to say, well, I went for Biden. Charlemagne is 100% a Democrat. He may not necessarily like all of the Democrats that are being presented to him, but he's 100% Democrat, all right? And their strategy is to always say, but Trump, but Trump. And even when they say, hey, listen, what do you think about the sentiment about Democrats? Because Trump is winning, let's be clear. They're going to say, but Trump. And even though Trump.
Right now, from just American people, is just a backlash to everything. People want something different.
Well, when I was on your show, back in October of last year, you told me that you would have been happy to have voted for Kamala Harris as the nominee for the Democrat Party. I want to ask you, do you still feel that way? Do you think she was the best representative and the best person for the Democrats in the next 2 years this term?
Yes, I would vote for it. I mean, I did vote for that president. But absolutely, because I mean, if you look right now, she's looking pretty good.
Son of a bitch, dude. This car sucks, bro.
President Trump will do. He actually did. And I did a segment on the Daily Show, after he
Yeah, he did everything that he said that he was going to do on the campaign. That's why you hear the whole rhetoric of promises made, promises delivered.
It's like a drifting car, bro.
That's why I use Multiply, because they go with me wherever I go. Multiply, peace of mind. It's so simple.
President, I was like, prove people wrong. Everything that everybody is saying about you, everything that they say you're going to do, all you gotta do is simply not do it.
Dude, what the fuck, man?
Let me ask you. It's not like he was listening to me. I'm just simply saying.
He listens to everyone. He takes input from everyone. So Kamala Harris, listen to this. She now says that she is not going to seek becoming governor of California. Here's her statement. She says, for now, my leadership and public service will be in elected office. I look forward to being back and listening to the American people, helping elect Democrats across the nation who will fight fearlessly and sharing more details in the months ahead about my own plan. Charlemagne, if you look at what Democrat primary voters think about some of the candidates, look at where Kamala Harris falls. She's number 2, right here behind Pete Buttigieg. Do you think she should run for president again?
I mean, she can do whatever she wants. I don't personally know if I would run for president if I was her, and if she does.
They haven't given him his talking points on this yet because she's just revealed that she's not going to run for governor in California, so he has to pause on that.
She has to get a real connection with the people. I think that's something that she's always been missing. If you look at from 2020 to now, whenever you see her, it always seems like it's transactional, right? Like she ran for president, so she was trying to get, people's attention for that. Then she became vice president, and she became the actual nominee. People have never seen the VP just out having a conversation, doing what she says she wants to do right there, which is just being of service to the people in that way. And I think she just needs to establish a real connection with the people. I think any of those candidates that are attempting to run need to establish a real connection with the people. And I think that you do it by doing things like this. Like, you have to show up to the Fox News of the world. You have to show up to the Joe Rogan of the world. Hell, I think that in 2028, really now, until 2028, they should have their own platforms. They should be...
Yeah, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I want to know what y'all think about this interview between Laura and Charlemagne. I love y'all. I appreciate.
A lot of times we look at marriage as bringing people happiness, but happy people tend to get married. It's a byproduct of being a happy person because that's a skill. So if you're an unhappy person, you just become an unhappy married person. If you're an unhappy person, you're just an unhappy person with a kid. So basically, Lauren Southern recently put out a book. And I didn't read it because I just have better things to do. But I won't... Do you know what? If you guys pay me enough, I might do it. But I just think we all got better things to do with our time. But I won't cook her to death. So I want to show you what happens is the sisterhood's always real. So even women that say they're conservative, so this is Alex Clark, and she's assisting Lauren Southern and accusing all of the right of rape when she was really just being a whore. So, yeah.
I think the majority of women in the trad wife space are having massive problems in their relationship that they will never talk about publicly.
Are we talking about online influencers in the trad wife space?
Yes.
Conservative space?
Yes.
Some have speculated that your ex was a Romeo spy. Is there any possibility that that could be true?
I don't like crying on the internet, but my son's gonna grow up and he's gonna watch this, and I want him to know that I love his dad very much. I think the one reason I don't remain tortured by this relationship is because I gave it everything. Within 1,000 times of him saying, I'm going to divorce you, 1,000 times I said, I'm not giving up on you.
And the worst part is, it's funded by men. So Turning Point USA. That's the thing. Men, they often get what they deserve because it's like, they go to the ends of the earth to destroy men.
ideal image of marriage and family lacks the nuance and complexity of real life. That is the story of what happened to her, a Tradway fairy tale turned into a nightmare. This interview is a beautiful multi-camera shot episode on the Real Alex Clark YouTube channel that is made possible through generous donations from listeners like you who support our mission to heal a sick culture physically, mentally, and spiritually with this content. You can find a link in the description to make a tax-deductible donation, or if it's not a good time, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify at no cost to you. Today you'll hear from Lauren Southern, a Canadian journalist, documentary filmmaker, YouTube firebrand, author, mother, and survivor. This is Culture Apothecary with Alex Clark. Lauren Southern, you've had one of the most compelling careers in the conservative media space, but are the rumors true that you're a feminist now?
If I call myself that, I will.
And now it's crashed. Now your career's over. Alex, I can't tell if this girl's just stupid. Have you been through a nasty breakup, a false accusation, or divorce court hell? Our private university isn't just about self-improvement. It's about protecting yourself as a man. We brought on legal child support officers, legal experts to teach you how to defend yourself before it happens. Reduce your risk, arm yourself with knowledge. Go to pearlinvite.com, watch the short video, and apply, because nobody is coming to save you, but we can show you how to save yourself. Or what?
Have accusations made against me that do not apply and expectations I cannot fulfill. So I'm going to avoid that one like the plague. I plead the fifth.
Well, talk a little bit about the environment that you grew up in, the belief system that you grew up in your family, and how you ended up being, I would say that you are one of the first major content creators in the conservative independent media space.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Canada, so that's a pretty radicalizing experience. I'd say we're about 10 to 15 years ahead on the kind of left-wing progressive ideology compared to America. And growing up in Vancouver in particular, where we have mass immigration to the point where I don't even think the local population are the majority anymore. It's mostly immigrants right now. Made my lived experience one in which I had to embrace right-wing ideas. I was watching my culture entirely change before me. And by the time I was in grade 12, we had progressive classes being introduced, literally social progress 12 or something, where we were learning about white privilege, male privilege, this kind of stuff. And
Let's get to the facing accusations, maybe. Let's skip that.
But there were also a lot about.
I don't care about your early life, Lauren. I don't care why you're a whore. I don't. I just care that you're doing it.
There are things going on in the background that I didn't talk about publicly because it was so complicated. After I did my big documentary Farmlands and Borderless, I was being massively attacked by large global media corporations, but also intelligence agencies.
What were they saying about you? They were saying Lauren Southern is what?
White nationalist was a big accusation for the country, so people can have families.
Your career's done, man. Done.
That they can raise with freedom of religion, you know. I want to have that family one day. I want to have kids. I want to be, you know, what I'm fighting for.
Mm-hmm.
And if I keep this going, like, I am going to end up behind bars for sure. I just narrowly escaped going to jail in Turkey. Narrowly. And when I got married, my husband was an Australian, and he was also working for a federal government capacity. And the Australian government told me I wasn't going to be allowed to come to the country, visit family, nothing, unless I quit politics. It was literally in their stipulation letter to me. You are banned from the country. You're put on vacuum, which is a list for terrorists, criminals, everything. We will only take you off that list and allow you in if you quit politics.
Was it a no-brainer for you? Like, done, like, I quit? Or was it something that you really thought through and we're kind of struggling with?
Obviously, it's something I would have preferred not been the case, but it was a no-brainer. Like, when I told people, you know, family is my goal, having kids, when I decided, you know, before we get into all of this, I want to clarify, I'm not the ideal trap wife. I had a career. I had boyfriends before my husband. I had, like, you know,
she was both. You banged Destiny.
Everything, nothing about my life is normal, right? But when I got married, I was like, this is my primary goal in life, to be a mother, a wife, and have kids, and everything else comes secondary. So letting go of my career was absolutely a no-brainer, but I would have preferred to have it and been able to speak publicly and not have a government be oppressive to me because of my ideology, for sure.
Were you feeling any type of internal pressure, like this is the kind of content I talk about and I need to make sure I'm living it out?
People can pretend when they are content creators that they don't feel pressure from their audience, that they don't feel pressure from the comments section. I remember when I was 21 years old, I published a video saying why I'm not married, because I was getting so much incessant pressure from my audience saying you should have kids now, you're basically valueless as a woman, you're out here traveling and being a career. And I had to go out there and be like, you shouldn't rush into marriage, you should find someone.
She should just stay put, make children, go back to politics and stop going to Turkey or whatever foreign countries. Yeah, but she crashed out. She did tell you all about her exes. Yeah, dangerous woman.
That's good for you, and like make sure the test of time goes through. You should. Some people aren't going to get married, and that's okay. And I really tried to clarify that to my audience, but I felt like I was almost trying to clarify that to myself.
Yeah, because this is what it is. Again, feminism is a strategy for women to spend their youth on themselves, and when women do that, it makes especially non-sexually active men upset. And the reason is because the men sexually active, it benefits them, right? So again, betas benefit the most from marriage, and that's why they push it. Alphas are getting sex. I hate using those terms, they're placeholders, but you guys get the idea.
Because I was feeling the pressure of this ideology, and growing up, you don't really know things until you live them. You don't. That's just how it works. You know, what's that Ann Coulter quote? A liberal is just a conservative who hasn't been mugged yet. I believe was the quote. So it's like you don't understand.
Well, if that's the case, then we should have a lot of people turning red in California this year.
Mass muggings, yeah. So especially in the zeitgeist, like I grew up throughout the whole creation of the internet. You know, I was born in '95, and I started on like Neopets as a young girl, the forums, Tumblr when it came out, MSN Messenger. Oh, you did Tumblr
Yep,
too?
and I had MSN Messenger and AIM both.
Yeah. So all of these like more rudimentary beginnings of the internet. And then by the time I was a teenager, like people started making YouTube content. You start watching that. And unfortunately, what was lost in that transition was you used to be able to get all of your information about relationships and love and what to do from real people around you, where you could really see the fruits of what they were talking about. So if someone was giving you advice on how to structure your relationship, well, you could see if they had successful relationships in their life, they were in your community. Whereas the information we're getting today is from a lot of people who are creating exciting advice, things that make you feel very confident about the approach you're taking. If you do this, if you follow this listicle, then you are going to be.
Well, and the other issue is advice that works for boomers doesn't work for Gen Z or millennials. The boomer dad used to just be able to go out. There was a hot woman, thin, ready. I mean, the Gen Z guys got to figure out how to put their wife on a nutrition plan because they're all fat. So, and then also how to like not get herpes. Like these, they have no idea. They have no idea.
Be happy and healthy. And if you don't do this, you're going to be a miserable wench. But you can't see any of the.
But so the other issue is, a lot of times we look at marriage as bringing people happiness, but happy people tend to get married. It's a byproduct of being a happy person because that's a skill. So if you're an unhappy person, you just become an unhappy married person. If you're an unhappy person, you're just an unhappy person with a kid. They don't make you, like, it's almost selfish to put your happiness on somebody else.
Real struggles they're having because
everything looks good. They think she's hot. She's got herpes, guys. Allegedly. Allegedly she got it from Tate, so could be hot, but that HPV and herpes is coming for. It's like you guys learn nothing from our Friday STD shows.
everything is sanitized.
What was the path to follow that you thought, if I do this, this, and this will lead to a successful marriage and happy relationship?
It was the whole trad wife stuff was beginning to become very popular on the internet. When I was at the dynamo of my career, you have to, not have your job. You have to quit your job, make that secondary, be the stay-at-home wife, be more submissive, follow your husband wherever he goes. Got to be attractive, got to be young. You want to get married young for sure, because if you get married past 25, then you hit the wall and you're, basically used goods, whatever. There were all the.
I don't know how she could argue that she's not used goods as a single mother that has the reputation she has. Do you know what I mean?
His advice pieces that I thought I had one.
I was way cuter at 22. I was fatter, but I was way cuter. I wasn't this black pilled. I probably was more pleasant. It just is what it is.
Pottery, I found a very masculine guy.
Someone said herpes. I'm gonna die soon anyway, so fuck it.
With a masculine career, and I did absolutely love my husband.
One of the worst things, tell us how you met him and what your first impression was.
The first time I met him was actually, we weren't dating or anything then, but it was when I was touring Australia, and he was introduced to me as like a government dignitary. So it was very impressive, very important person. We shook hands, took a picture, and then I had to go and do speeches. And then I didn't meet him again for a while, and we weren't even dating then either, but he actually, in a way, kind of saved me from jail in Turkey. I can't get into the details too much because it is like really weird government stuff that was going on.
Yeah, and this is, someone just submitted this. Why are they promoting a whore and a drug addict, allegedly? This is the reputation she has. I mean, guys, I've been on the internet forever. The only thing they got on me is an ex-boyfriend I had publicly. It was and look, I'm not perfect. If something ever comes out, I'll just say, just is what it is. But I can tell you what won't come out. Drugs, whoredom, sleeping with destiny. Yeah, that will not come out. No. I do not. I would never risk AIDS. Anyone that sleeps with a bi guy is just stupid.
Going on, but he wasn't supposed to get me if I got arrested. He wasn't supposed to, because he might sacrifice his security clearance. He might, get in trouble himself with his government jobs. And I remember after being arrested by the military, they handed us over to the gendarme, and my security that was with me at the time looked at me and he's like, we're screwed if we get handed over to the gendarme because they can charge us. The military couldn't charge us, but these people can. They bring us in, at gunpoint in these cars to this little rickety old station with the lights swinging in the ceiling, a painting of Ataturk. And I remember walking in there thinking, wow, I'm probably going to jail for the rest of my 20s. And then seeing, he wasn't my husband at the time, but my husband waiting there after he was supposed to cut and run and leave me, and thinking, oh my goodness, what an incredible man.
And how soon were you married and pregnant?
We moved very quick.
And how did she reward him? A freaking hit piece.
It was like, we had known each other for I guess I met him 8